Okay.
And go.
This is, we turn it off.
What?
Can we turn this off really fast?
Oh.
Because you can just hear everything. Yeah. You got one right there. Sorry, it was just like we could just hear everything going.
Nothing should go through there.
Yeah, good, good.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, cool. So, oh, my name's Rio, by the way. And this is,
I'm Jamie. I'm Ashlyn.
and we're observing the prevalence of e-cig users here at Chaminade and other groups that are doing smoking. And we've been doing this for 3 years for the e-cig, 5 years for the smoking. We're observing prevalence rate and behavioral aspects as the number of designated smoking areas here get less and less. And so for people who aren't familiar with e-cigarettes or vape, they first came about as an alternative to cigarette smoking for those who are trying to quit. And rather than smoke going into your lungs, it's vapor with nicotine and artificial flavoring. And the nicotine's optional for the e-cig user's preference. And they appear less detrimental in terms of health effects compared to regular cigarette smoking, in part due to no tar and many other chemicals found in tobacco smoking. The use of e-cigarettes remains controversial in part as it may be promoting nicotine use. It can reinforce the nicotine addiction. And our hypothesis is, can e-cigarettes be a gateway drug to cigarette smoking? And we're going to discuss that later on. Concern remains. So for those of you who haven't heard yet, just beginning of this year, the law went into effect that smoking is prohibited in these areas, and so are e-cigarettes. So hence the saying, don't vape where you can't smoke, or don't use e-cigs where you can't smoke. Some health experts speculate that e-cigarettes or vape may serve as a gateway drug to regular cigarette smoking. And just recently, University of Hawaii Cancer Center did an experiment very similar to ours in a survey study. Among 2,300 high school students in Hawaii, mostly 9th and 10th graders, those who use e-cigarettes are more likely to start smoking cigarettes. So says Dr. Thomas Wells, PhD. So in the last 4 years, there has been an increase in prevalence of e-cig use by teenagers, and e-cig use by high school students increased from 1 to 2% to 20 to 30%. And I believe Hawaii has 3 times more vape prevalence compared to the mainland. So we're comparing our study and our findings with theirs. And they also found that most vape users happen to be native Hawaiian and Filipino, and we're going to discuss our ethnic background here at Chaminade too. Research questions, what is the prevalence of e-cig? I'm sorry, I kind of went over there just
Okay. How do I use this little button? The arrow. Okay. Alright, so for our method from 2014 till recent now, 2016, we have surveyed the undergrad population here at Chaminade University. And we've given out surveys to them that, we've developed over the past couple years. Asking about questions related from e-cigarette smoking and smoking, like you said earlier. And then this is the survey, so some of the questions were, are you currently using, and if you are, like, is it nicotine, non-nicotine? How frequent do you use it? So are you using it socially? Are you using it during your breaks, like just frequently using it? Yeah, so you guys can see some stories. Okay, so from 2014 we surveyed 24 classes. 2015 we had 29, and then this year we had 17. Participants per year. So we actually increased our participants. So you can see that 2014 we had 278, 15 we had 384, and this year we had 433.
Because prevalence pretty good.
Oh,
Sorry, I
sorry.
put the wrong graph on the wrong slide.
Sorry. Okay, that's our fault. Is this the right one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as you can see, the prevalence rate is increased. Okay. Whatever. We're gonna pass that by.
Okay, so this is the age for the 3-year study. And basically the ages have somewhat been consistent from 2014. The age range is from 18 to 35. And in 2015 it ranged from 16 to 35. But since there's a new law where you have to be 21 and over to purchase e-cigs, it might have a little bit of an effect since the age range was from 18 to 29. As for gender, for 2014 it was more males than females, 69% male and 31% female. For 2015 it was 66% male and 33% female, and in the 2016 study we did was 44% male and 50% female. But keeping in mind the female to male ratio is like 3-to-1 at Chaminade, so even though it says more females, like the ratio actually makes it that there's more males. And classroom. So in 2014 there were more freshmen that used e-cigs, and in 2015 it was pretty even between sophomore and juniors. And in 2016 there was actually surprisingly more freshmen that smoked e-cigs, especially with the new law.
You have to be 21.
Yeah.
So next is ethnicity. We want to compare ethnic background in relation to e-cig use among Chaminade's student population and what the Cancer Center found among high school students out there. So in 2014, we found that there was significant prevalence in Japanese e-cig users. And for 2015, we found that Caucasians make up most of the e-cig users, and so with 2016, and we did chi-square to figure that out. So are e-cigarette users also likely to be cigarette smokers? So we found that usually about 1/3 of our e-cig users report to be cigarette and e-cigarette users. And are non-smoking students developing a nicotine habit? That hypothesis about can e-cigs reinforce nicotine addiction and eventually lead to cigarette smoking? So same thing about 1/3 of our sample size. Conclusion, the prevalence rate of e-cigarette use compared to UH study and mainland rates is not as high. More e-cigarette users in male population than female. Most e-cigarette users are around freshman, sophomore year, around the ages of 18 and 19. Number of Caucasian e-cigarette users seem to be higher relative to peer of other ethnicities, and in contrast with the study done by UH Cancer Center. Contrast and prevalence rates to UH studies suggest more studies are needed to better understand e-cigarette use in Hawaii, because there's not enough studies out there that support the idea of e-cigarettes leading to cigarette smoking. So that's why we're continuing this year after year. E-cigarettes does not appear to be a gateway drug to tobacco use for CUH students as of what we have right now. If e-cigarettes become a clear threat to health, example nicotine dependency, then demographic characteristics may be able to identify those at greatest risk. Limitations are surveys were self-reported surveys. Actually, e-cigarette was not otherwise verified. The survey was developed for the study with no known psychometric properties. Thank you to Dr. Tracy Chevrolet for this opportunity, and thank you guys for coming here too. And I'd like to say thank you to Sakiko Sugihara because she was always there to help, and so was Yuka. And to all the members of Dr. Tracy Chevrolet's class and past lab members that conducted this research. Thank you.
All right, great. So questions, guys?
Do you think knowledge of tobacco and of cigarette use and kind of what it's doing to your body will influence when you're using it? I mean, as a freshman, compared to when you're a senior, you gain so much more education. And it's showing that your freshman and sophomore are using more, so could it just be that, hey, I'm more capable of using my brain to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oops.
We could also think that like when you're a freshman or sophomore, you're young, you're kind of experiencing and you're trying new things as you are going into college, and as you're junior to senior, you're kind of figuring out, okay, what am I doing with my life? Kind of realizing good and bad habits, I guess.
E-cigarettes are also kind of becoming more a novelty item, like kind of a toy to just blow clouds, rather than, like me who would use it as an alternative to cigarette smoking because I used to be a cigarette smoker. So I see that among the younger generations, they do it just for hobby. Then, I mean, the danger of it is they just play around with nicotine levels and eventually get addicted. Well, I mean, when I was a teenager in high school, like smoking cigarettes was a popular thing, whereas when I think of it now, I think what would be popular in high school is e-cigarettes. So I think there's that difference with popularity.
Other questions?
Just one quick one. So just kind of what you were just saying, in the people who are cigarette smokers and e-cigarette users, does that include ex-smokers or just like who currently use both?
Right, it's hard to tell because our question on the survey specifically asked, are they using both at the same
Right
time?
now,
We didn't
yeah.
ask them which one came first.
Sure.
Yeah, so we could have done something to the survey, maybe for the next series study.
That would be a
Just
clarify
wondering
these
which group
questions.
those people fall in.
Yeah.
Right. Good. Another question?
I've heard that the e-cigarettes, like the mechanism is getting more and more expensive and they're like really fancy and some of them are huge. Are there ones that are like status symbol e-cig?
Status symbol
Like the
e-cig.
Mercedes of an e-cig. Like I got this kind.
Yeah, these are, for the people that use it for novelty because they'll have
Yeah.
competitions on who can blow the biggest cloud.
Yeah.
And yeah, they just tweak with the system to make it, blow more vapor into their mouth. And yeah, I mean, I don't get it. I'm just trying to quit smoking.
Speaking of that, the prevalence rate of smoking at Shamdan is about the same. So smoking's gone down to about 5%, and vaping's kind of gone up to meet that. But yeah, question.
Yeah, I find the results were really interesting because you talked about like the novelty of e-cigarettes, and I think like cigarettes, cigars, and e-cigs kind of have different like trends and like popular like approaches. And like for here, I would like to see like what kind of like SES, like what does SES and e-cigs have? Like, is there a correlation? Because you mentioned how there's more Caucasians using e-cigarettes,
Yeah.
but it's like I feel like that like makes me think like I wonder what contributes to that. And because I think about like when I think about e-cigarettes, I think about like hookah, and I think about like Southeast Asian cultures and like the Middle East, and like I don't think about the West. So it's like really interesting that your study says that there's like more Caucasians too.
We were surprised by that, and if you get an issue of Vape magazine, you can't find a white person in there. It's all really, really local people,
Yeah.
and it's lower SES.
It's kind of like the West being fascinated with like Asians, like
Yeah.
because like now you see a trend of like white like Westerns going like I love Buddhism, like I love this, and then they go like oh my god, e-cigarettes, and like so I don't know, maybe it's like a fascination of like Asian culture.
Anyway, good job, guys.
Oh, one more.
Just wondering if there were any changes in your results after the law passed for the age to 21.
When you look at the actual survey, like some people's answers seem really inconsistent because like they won't mark off on the box that says e-cig and cigarettes, but they'll mark off on boxes like they use e-cigarettes to save the cost of like buying a pack of cigarettes. So it's just, I think it's a reactivity factor. I think some people just feel like they don't want to answer that question because they might get caught or something. I don't know.
Even though we said it was completely anonymous and
Right, confidential.
confidential, and
So
no
I
one
think
would
the
know.
new law does tweak people's way of thinking and answering questions honestly.
Great.
Thank you. Well done.